You sent over that really interesting info from Green Time Wellness about chai, and it got us both thinking. This isn't just your average cup of tea, right? It's got this whole history and like a reputation for being, oh, good for you.
Definitely.
So for you listening, we're diving deep into chai, what those potential health benefits actually are, and crucially, how you can easily make this at home.
Yeah.
Our mission here is to pull out the stuff that really matters so you feel genuinely in the know, ready to maybe get brewing without feeling like you've just, swallowed a textbook.
Exactly. It's one thing to just enjoy a warm spiced drink, which is great in itself, but it's another thing to kind of understand why it might make you feel good.
Right.
And what's fascinating here is that a beverage with such deep, like, traditional roots seems to have properties that modern science is actually starting to explore now.
Okay, so beyond just that comforting warmth and amazing flavor, what are the big health wins we should maybe be aware of?
Well, let's kick things off with digestion. If you look at a traditional chai blend, it's absolutely packed with spices like ginger, cinnamon, and cardamom.
Hmm.
And each of these has a really long history of being used to, you know, soothe the stomach.
Okay.
And what's interesting is that these aren't just old wives' tales. For instance, ginger has these compounds, gingerols, which have actually been studied for their potential to ease nausea and maybe reduce bloating.
Huh. Ginger rolls.
Yeah. And cardamom, similarly, has traditionally been used to help relieve indigestion. So there's a real basis there.
Right, so it's not just that they taste good together, which they do. There's actually something happening chemically, I guess. It makes you wonder how people figured this stuff out centuries ago.
It really does. Trial and error over generations, maybe,
Yeah.
and it extends beyond just, a happy gut. You also mentioned immunity earlier.
Yeah.
So if we think about supporting the body's defenses, chai has a couple of things going for it. Traditional chai is usually made with black tea,
Right, the base.
which is a source of antioxidants, specifically things called flavonoids. These compounds basically help protect your cells from damage caused by free radicals.
So like a little internal bodyguard squad protecting things.
That's actually a pretty good way to think of it, yeah. And it's not just the tea either. Spices like cloves and black pepper, those little sort of powerhouses in the blend, have been shown, at least in lab studies, to have antibacterial properties. So while, it's definitely not going to replace your flu shot or anything,
Of course not.
it does hint at another layer of potential support for your system.
Okay, so from the inside out, happy digestion, maybe stronger defenses. What other ways might chai be looking after us? I recall something about inflammation being mentioned in the notes.
Yes, the anti-inflammatory side of chai is quite interesting. And again, ginger and cinnamon are really the key players here.
Tim again.
They keep popping up. Both contain compounds that have been researched for their ability to help reduce inflammation and potentially ease pain. For example, cinnamon contains something called cinnamaldehyde.
Cinnamaldehyde.
Okay. Which has shown anti-inflammatory effects in various studies. Ginger has its own set of compounds that work similarly.
So that warm mug might be doing more than just comforting you on a chilly day. It could actually be helping, maybe, to ease some aches and pains.
It's certainly plausible. For people experiencing, say, mild joint discomfort or just general inflammation, incorporating chai might be a gentle, supportive addition to their routine. It's likely about the cumulative effect of these compounds over time.
That's fascinating. And it seems like some of these ingredients, cinnamon and black tea, especially keep popping up when we talk about heart health too, don't they?
They absolutely do. There's emerging research looking at the potential link between these components and cardiovascular well-being. Some studies suggest they might help with regulating blood pressure and cholesterol levels.
Really? How so?
Well, for instance, certain compounds in cinnamon have been associated with positive effects on blood lipids, which includes cholesterol. And black tea consumption has also been linked in some population studies to better heart health outcomes.
So it's not just about feeling good today, but potentially contributing to keeping your heart happy down the road.
That's the direction some of the research is pointing, yeah. Regular, moderate consumption of these ingredients, obviously as part of a balanced lifestyle, could be a factor in long-term heart health. It's supportive, not a magic bullet.
Right, right. Lifestyle is key. Now let's switch gears slightly. Sometimes you need that afternoon pick-me-up, but the jitters from coffee aren't always welcome. How does chai stack up in terms of energy?
That's a great question. Because it usually contains black tea, traditional chai does have caffeine, which can provide a gentle energy boost. So, yes, there's that.
Okay.
However, what makes it different for some people is the presence of L-theanine. an amino acid also found naturally in black tea.
L-theanine, right. I've heard of that. What's the story there?
Well, L-theanine has this really interesting effect of promoting alertness while also encouraging relaxation. It's kind of unique.
Alert relaxation. That sounds ideal.
It kind of is. So you might get that focus from the caffeine, but without the sharp spikes and subsequent crashes that some people experience with coffee. It's like the L-theanine helps to sort of smooth out the caffeine's effects.
Ah, so it's more of a sustained focus rather than a big jolt and then a slump. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Exactly.
Now, one more potential benefit that caught my eye in the materials was related to blood sugar.
Yes, the potential role of cinnamon, again, in regulating blood sugar levels is quite intriguing. Some studies have indicated that cinnamon might improve insulin sensitivity.
Insulin sensitivity, what does that mean exactly?
It's basically how effectively your body's cells respond to insulin, which is the hormone that helps move glucose or sugar from your blood into your cells for energy. Better sensitivity means it works more efficiently.
Got it. So, for someone keeping an eye on their blood sugar levels, maybe a cup of chai could be a thoughtful choice compared to, say, a sugary soda or something.
It could be a supportive addition, especially, and this is important if you're mindful of any added sweeteners.
Ah, yes. The sugar factor.
Which leads us perfectly to the DIY part, because this is where making your own chai really becomes powerful. You have complete control over how much sugar, if any, goes in.
Exactly. All these potential upsides. And it sounds like we can actually whip this up in our own kitchens. It's not some guarded secret recipe from a mountaintop monastery, is it?
Not at all. That's one of the real joys of chai, its accessibility. Making it at home allows you to not only tailor it precisely to your taste preferences, how strong you like the spices, how creamy you want it, but also to align it with any health considerations you might have, like controlling sugar or caffeine.
Okay, let's get down to brass tacks then. What are the absolute essentials for a classic homemade chai, like the shopping list?
Okay, for a really good foundational homemade chai, you'll want to gather about 2 cups of water, 1 cup of milk, and this can be anything, cow's milk, almond, oat, soy, whatever you prefer.
First,
Vary. Then 2 black tea bags, or maybe a tablespoon of loose leaf black tea. For the aromatic heart of it, about 1 inch of fresh ginger, thinly sliced, maybe 2 cinnamon sticks, 4 or 5 cardamom pods, just lightly crushed to release the seeds.
just bash them a bit.
Yeah, gently crush them. 4 whole cloves, and maybe half a teaspoon of black peppercorns. And lastly, sweetener is totally optional, but honey or maple syrup are popular choices, usually added to taste at the end.
Sounds like a pretty manageable list. Most of that might even be in the spice rack already. Now, walk us through the brewing steps. How do we put it all together?
Okay, the process is actually quite straightforward. First, in a saucepan, you bring those 2 cups of water to a rolling boil.
Got it. Boiling water.
Once it's boiling, add all your lovely spices. The sliced ginger, the cinnamon sticks, those crushed cardamom pods, the cloves, and the black peppercorns. Turn the heat down a bit and let this simmer gently for about 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, why simmer?
This simmering time is really crucial. It allows the water to properly extract all the flavors and those volatile aromatic compounds from the spices. It builds the base.
Okay, so the spices are doing their thing, creating that rich, fragrant base. Smells good already, I bet. What happens next?
After the spices have had their time, say 5–10 minutes, you introduce your black tea. If you're using tea bags, just pop them in. If it's loose leaf, add that to the pot. Let the tea steep in that spiced water for another 3 to 5 minutes. This depends on how strong you like your tea. Keep an eye on the color. You're looking for a nice rich amber.
Got it. Spices get a head start, then the tea joins the party. And then comes the creamy part, right? The milk.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you pour in your cup of milk, stir it gently, and let the whole mixture heat through.
Yeah.
You want it to get nice and warm, steaming maybe, but try not to let it come to a full boil after adding the milk.
Okay, just heat it through?
Yep. Once it's heated to your liking, the final step is to strain the chai. Pour it through a fine mesh sieve into your mugs to catch all the spices and tea leaves.
All right, gotta get the bits out.
Definitely. And then, if you desire, you can stir in your honey or maple syrup to sweeten it. Serve it up warm, and there you have it, your own homemade classic chai.
That genuinely doesn't sound intimidating at all. Pretty simple, really. Now, what if someone is trying to cut back on caffeine or avoid it altogether but still wants that comforting chai flavor profile? Is there a caffeine-free route?
Absolutely. You can create a wonderful herbal chai that really captures those warm, spicy notes without any caffeine from tea leaves.
Okay, how's that work?
You'll still start with water, And your choice of milk, almond or coconut milk, often complement the spices beautifully in a herbal version. For the spices, you'll use similar amounts of fresh ginger, cinnamon stick, cardamom pods, and cloves, as in the classic recipe.
The usual suspects.
The core players, yeah. Then you might add maybe half a teaspoon of fennel seeds and perhaps half a teaspoon of turmeric powder. These add extra depth and have their own potential benefits too.
Turmeric, interesting. Adds that golden color too, probably.
It does. And if you'd like something that feels a bit more like a tea base, but without caffeine, you can add about a tablespoon of rooibos tea, sometimes called red bush tea.
Ah, rooibos. Yeah, good call. And sweetener optional again.
Sweetener always optional to taste.
And the method for making this caffeine-free version, is it pretty much the same?
Very simple. Bring the water to a boil, add all your spices, ginger, cinnamon, cardamom, cloves, fennel seeds, turmeric. Let them simmer for that 5 to 10 minute window to extract the flavors.
Build the base.
Build the base.
Yeah.
Then stir in your milk and the rooibos tea if you're using it. Let it all simmer together gently for another 5 minutes or so, just to allow the flavors to really meld nicely. Finally, strain it, sweeten if you like, and serve. This herbal chai is lovely warm, but it's also surprisingly quite refreshing, served over ice.
Oh, nice. Versatile again. Perfect for those who are sensitive to caffeine or just want a different kind of comforting drink in the evening, maybe. Okay, and what about a cooler, more indulgent take? That iced vanilla chai latte you mentioned earlier sounded particularly appealing, especially as we head into warmer weather eventually.
It's a real treat. For this one, you'll start slightly differently. Bring 2 cups of water to a boil and steep 2 black tea bags, along with about an inch of fresh ginger, a cinnamon stick, and maybe 4 crushed cardamom pods.
Okay, starting with tea and spices together.
Yes, and for an iced latte, you generally want a slightly stronger tea base because the ice will dilute it. So let this mixture steep for a good 10 minutes, maybe even a little longer.
Ah, that makes sense, anticipating the dilution. Need that concentrated flavor.
Precisely. After steeping, remove the tea bags and strain the spiced tea into a pitcher or jar. Then stir in about half a teaspoon of vanilla extract while it's still warm.
Vanilla, yum.
Now here's the crucial step for any iced drink. You need to let the spiced vanilla tea cool down completely. You can just leave it on the counter or pop it in the refrigerator to speed things up. Don't pour hot tea over ice.
Right, you'll just get watery, lukewarm tea.
Patience is a virtue when it comes to iced drinks, it seems.
It really is. Once your spiced vanilla tea is thoroughly chilled, you're ready to assemble your latte. Fill a tall glass with ice cubes, pour in the chilled tea until the glass is maybe 2/3 full.
Okay.
Then top it off with about a cup or maybe a bit less of your milk of choice, dairy or plant-based. Both work wonderfully here. Finally, sweeten with maybe a tablespoon of maple syrup or honey, or adjust to your preference. Give it a good stir, maybe add a fancy straw, and you have a delicious and refreshing iced vanilla chai latte.
These all sound so achievable. It's really amazing that something you can make so easily at home with fairly common ingredients can have such a range of potential health benefits alongside just tasting great.
Yeah.
It really does feel like more than just a beverage.
It absolutely does. Making and enjoying chai can become this lovely little ritual, a moment of mindful warmth, a sensory experience with the aroma and flavor. And you're potentially benefiting from the natural compounds in the spices and tea at the same time. It's a win-win. So just to kind of wrap things up for everyone listening, we've explored how chai might lend a hand with digestion, thanks largely to that powerful trio of ginger, cinnamon, and cardamom. We've looked at the potential immune-boosting properties, thinking about the antioxidants in black tea and maybe some antibacterial qualities from cloves and black pepper.
Yeah, have little helpers.
Then we dove into the anti-inflammatory potential, again with ginger and cinnamon starring, not to mention the possible heart-healthy aspects linked to cinnamon and black tea.
Right, those recurring themes.
We also touched on that idea of sustained energy and focus you might get from the caffeine and L-theanine combo in black tea, kind of different from coffee, and the potential blood sugar balancing act that cinnamon might play a role in.
A lot packed into 1 cup.
Totally. And of course, we've given you 3 fantastic, pretty easy recipes: the classic, the caffeine-free herbal, and that lovely iced vanilla latte to hopefully bring the magic of homemade chai into your own daily life.
Exactly. And really, remember, the real beauty here is in the customization. Don't be afraid to experiment. Add a pinch more ginger, try star anise, use oat milk instead of almonds, less sweetener, more sweetener. Create a chai that's perfectly suited to you.
Well, this deep dive into chai has been truly eye-opening, I have to say. I'm definitely feeling inspired to maybe head to the kitchen later and start experimenting with these recipes myself.
Good. And hopefully it's given everyone listening a deeper understanding and perhaps a greater appreciation for this ancient drink and the potential it holds not just for enjoyment, but maybe for well-being too.
So here's a final thought to maybe stir in your mind. Could regularly incorporating this age-old practice, this simple ritual of brewing and savoring chai into your day, offer unexpected advantages that go beyond even what we've managed to uncover today?
Hmm.
And maybe what other time-honored traditions, food or otherwise, might be holding similar yet maybe undiscovered potential for our health and happiness? Just something warm and spicy to consider.